We're going to talk about 4 phrases every chosen soul says, often without even realizing it. These are simple phrases that many people mistake for venting, habit, or just a way of speaking. But behind them lies an entire universe of spiritual signals. These phrases work like small codes, clues the spirit releases when the soul is already sensing something bigger, something that doesn't fit inside an ordinary life. It doesn't matter the age, the city, or the personal story. When someone is chosen, at some point in life, they will say these phrases. And the curious part is that most people speak them as if they're nothing more than tired thoughts, random intuition, or a momentary desire to be quiet. But that's not what it is. It's the awakening speaking. It's the mission knocking on the door. And maybe, as I share these phrases with you, you'll realize you've said all of them yourself, or that someone close to you repeats these words without understanding why. Before we begin, make sure you follow the channel and hit the like button, because what you're about to hear may unlock something deep inside you. The first phrase is, "I feel like I don't belong here." This is perhaps the most defining phrase of the chosen, and it's not an exaggeration to say it often appears early in life, sometimes in childhood, sometimes during adolescence, sometimes only later in adulthood. It's that moment when a person looks around and thinks, "I don't feel like I'm part of this." The most important thing is this: it has nothing to do with arrogance or wanting to be different. It is a deep, silent, almost spiritual sensation. It is as if the spirit remembers a higher vibration, a place that isn't physical, and tries to adjust to a world that moves at a much lower frequency. The chosen grow up with this impression of being out of place, as if they arrive too early or live in a rhythm opposite to everyone else. They observe people, environments, and situations, and notice that the way they feel, think, and interpret the world is different, not because they try to be different, but because they simply are. And this feeling of not belonging grows stronger when they witness the superficiality around them. The chosen cannot tolerate masks. They cannot stand empty conversations. They cannot fit into spaces where everything is appearance, competition, ego, drama, petty conflict, or heavy energy. Something inside them says, "I need more. This is not for me, because I am not meant for this." The chosen belong to places where the vibration is lighter, truer, more sincere. That is why confusion, gossip, manipulation, and lies make them uncomfortable. They feel it in the body, in the soul, in the skin. And the most beautiful part is that this sensation is not a flaw. It is a sign. It is a warning that the chosen one came to do something different, to break cycles, to bring light to places no one wants to look at, to transform the environment rather than be shaped by it. Many chosen souls grow up believing something is wrong with them, when in truth, this feeling is the confirmation that something profoundly right exists within them. It is the spirit remembering, "You are not here to fit in, you are here to awaken." And this phrase appears out of nowhere. A person might be talking, reflecting, or living an ordinary day and suddenly says, "I feel like I don't belong here," as if it were just a casual comment. But beneath it lies a massive truth. This is the first key, the first code, the first signal that the soul knows, even unconsciously, that it carries something different. And this is only the beginning, because the second phrase reveals a gift that chosen souls try to ignore for a long time. The second phrase is, "I feel things before they happen." This is the phrase that scares chosen individuals the most in the beginning, because it doesn't matter how old they are or what stage of life they're in. At some point, they realize their intuition works like a spiritual radar, picking up things long before they become reality. This is not coincidence. It is not exaggeration. It is not paranoia. It is pure spiritual sensitivity. The chosen feel before they see. They sense before they understand. They know before any evidence appears. Sometimes it comes as a sudden discomfort. Sometimes it is a strange peace, as if the spirit were whispering, "Stay calm, everything will work out." Sometimes it comes through a dream that feels like a message. Sometimes it is a sensation in the stomach, the chest, or even in the air. An intuition so clear that the person can't even explain it, but knows they must pay attention. And the most surprising part is this: even when they try to ignore it, the chosen always notice that their intuition proves itself right. They feel someone's energy before the person even speaks. They identify hidden intentions before any evidence appears. They sense major changes coming, even the ones that will completely reshape their lives. This leaves the chosen with that unmistakable feeling of "I knew it," as if reality was simply catching up with what their spirit had already perceived long before. This phrase, "I feel things before they happen," reveals a gift the chosen have always carried but rarely embrace. They believe it is just too much sensitivity, a soft heart, or mere imagination. But it isn't. It is a channel. It is connection. It is alignment with a deeper layer of life, one that most people cannot hear because they are too loud inside. Chosen souls don't need long explanations. They simply know, and not in a cold, logical way, but in a way that is felt, lived, absorbed by the soul. And although this may seem like a spiritual advantage, the chosen ask for peace, not because they are weak, but because their soul has endured deep internal battles. When a chosen one says, "I just want peace," they are not talking about silence around them, but calm within them. A kind of inner stillness that allows their spirit to breathe again. They grow up sensing heavy environments, feeling tension no one else notices, absorbing energies just by looking at someone. This drains them emotionally and spiritually, which is why peace becomes essential, almost like air. As their consciousness expands, they realize how rare and valuable peace truly is. This phrase usually appears after intense disappointments, hidden pain, and years of carrying emotional weight alone. It becomes a quiet cry for healing, protection, and balance. And this desire for peace always appears right before a new spiritual phase begins in the life of the chose. This is the phrase that reveals a chosen one's purpose, even if they cannot see it clearly yet. The fourth phrase is, "I know I have a purpose, but I still don't understand what it is." Without a doubt, this is the statement that exposes a chosen soul the most, because it comes from a deep place, from an ancient intuition that feels older than life itself. And the most remarkable thing is that almost every chosen person has said this at some point. "I know I have a purpose, but I don't know what it is." This phrase does not appear randomly. It emerges after years of sensing that something greater is waiting ahead. It is the feeling that life is not just about working, paying bills, handling problems, and sleeping. It feels as if something invisible is calling, an inner pull, gentle, constant, silent, whispering, "You are not here by accident." But the chosen cannot see this purpose clearly at first. This creates a strange mix of spiritual anxiety and anticipation. It is like being ready to walk, but not having the map. They feel a desire to help, but do not know how. They feel they were born for something greater, yet cannot explain what. They feel they carry strength, sensitivity, and a different vision, but have not yet transformed any of it into a clear path. Meanwhile, life begins giving hints. People who show up unexpectedly, conversations that stir something inside, signs only they notice, coincidences that are not coincidences, books, dreams, intuitions, encounters. Everything begins nudging the chosen slowly toward their purpose. But this process is slow. It is internal. It is like a seed awakening at the right time. And the chosen must trust, even without seeing, This phrase shows that their soul already knows. It already recognizes that there is a calling. It just has not been revealed yet because the chosen needed time to mature, to heal, to strengthen. Nothing great appears before its time. This uncertainty is not a flaw, it is part of the path. It happens this way with all chosen ones. First comes the feeling, then comes the mission. And when the purpose finally appears, usually in a simple, natural, unexpected way, everything begins to make sense. Every pain, every loss, every intuition, every rejection, everything connects like pieces of a spiritual puzzle. But that is a conversation for later, because before understanding their purpose, the chosen undergo a deep period of inner transformation, and this is reflected in how they feel, speak, and move through the world. When we put these four phrases together, they may sound like the confessions of someone tired, sensitive, or different. But in truth, they reveal something much greater. They show the inner life of a chosen soul. These phrases do not appear by accident. They are like cracks through which the soul lets a little truth escape, and each one points to a specific stage of spiritual awakening, the feeling of not belonging, the intuition that warns ahead of time, the deep longing for peace, and the certainty of a hidden purpose. All of this shows that the chosen live between two worlds at the same time: the physical world with its expectations and pressures, and a chosen one feels life more intensely because they live between the physical and spiritual worlds. They sense energies, changes in people, and hidden truths that others don't notice. Their sensitivity is ancient, not something learned in this lifetime. As their soul awakens, it begins communicating through thoughts and simple phrases that carry deep meaning. These phrases are not random. They are signs of remembering who they truly are. Everything they